Okay, guys, Charlie's going to help me do this set of notes. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. You see his little tongue sticks out all the time. This is Charlie, but I'm going to put him back on the chair. All right, so we're going to talk about just some introductory stuff that has to do with ecology in this PowerPoint. So first of all, what is ecology? It's the study of how organisms interact with their environments. So biology is the study of living things, and geology is the study of Earth. So ecology is the study of how those living things interact with their environment. So it's kind of like if biology and geology had a baby, that would be ecology. So living things and then what they're doing in their environments. We can look at ecology at a bunch of different levels. I'm just going to give you the list and then we'll explain them all. We can talk about an individual organism. An organism, remember, is just our fancy word for a living thing. We can look at populations. We can look at communities. We can look at ecosystems or biomes. Technically, there's a difference between those two, but for our purposes, we're just going to consider them the same thing. And we can look at the whole biosphere. All right, so an organism is any individual living thing, whether it is a dust mite or whether it is a little bacterium or whether it is a bird. It's just any individual living thing. It can be unicellular, just one cell. Uni means one, cellular cells, one cell, like a bacterium, or multicellular. So trillions of cells, multi meaning many cells. So multicellular, like humans or the birds or the dust mites or Charlie, or any other, sort of bigger organism that you're used to looking at. The next is a population. So a population is a group of individual organisms, and that group of individual organisms needs to be of the same species, interbreeding with each other, and living in a specific geographic area. And really, what's considered a population is up to the scientist who's studying them. So we could talk about the population of sea otters on the entire planet. We can talk about the population of sea otters just in the northern hemisphere. We could talk about the population of sea otters in Illinois, which is a pretty small population, because it would be just whatever ones are at the zoos. But at any rate, we define what the size of what our geographic area is when we're talking about what that population is. And then a community. So a community is all of the different populations of different species living in a particular area. So in a population, we've just got one species. In a community, now we're talking about all of the different species that are living there together. So we're not just talking about the lions in the Serengeti. We're talking about the lions, and we're talking about the zebras, and we're talking about the acacia trees, and we're talking about all of the other various living things that are there. When we're looking at this underwater scene, we've got the yellow fish, and then we've got the golden fish, and you can see that I am not a marine biology teacher because I don't know what those fish are. And we've got the coral, and we've got the anemones. We've got anything that's alive. So all of the different populations all put together, that's our community. And then the ecosystem is everything that's living, and we call that biotic, and non-living, we call that abiotic. So bio means life, ic just means adjective, so biotic means an adjective meaning alive, and abiotic, a means not, so against or not life, so abiotic, not living in a certain area. So everything that's alive and not alive in a certain area, things that are living and non-living. So now we're not just talking about the deer and the birds and the grass and the trees, but now we're talking about the water and the air and the rocks and the things that are non-living as well. Okay, so I already gave you this part of this example, but one organism would be an elephant. The population would be that whole herd of elephants, but it's still just the elephants. The community would be the herd of elephants, the pride of lions, the sounder of warthogs, the prairie grass, and the acacia trees. So again, all of those different populations, but still things that are alive. And then when we get to the ecosystem, we're talking about the things that are alive and the things that are not alive. So we've got the herd of elephants, the pride of lions, the sounder of warthogs, the prairie grass, the acacia trees. But now we're talking about the watering hole, the soil, the rocks, the safari vans, the humans that are in the safari vans. So we've got all of the things that are alive and all of the things that are not alive. The biosphere then that I alluded to earlier is just all of the ecosystems on Earth. So if we take all of those ecosystems, so all of those sets of living and non-living things, and we put them all together on this big ball of life, bio-life, sphere, ball of life, biosphere is literally the ball of life, then we're talking about the biosphere. So all of the ecosystems put into one, ball of life is the biosphere. And there it is in case you didn't write it down. Okay, so habitat. A habitat is just really easy. It's the area in which an organism lives, okay? So it's just the place where something lives. Habitat needs to provide a few things. It's got to provide food. It's got to provide water. It needs to provide shelter. And it has to provide enough space to live. So this is important. In order for organisms to survive, their habitat has to give them food, water, shelter, and enough space for them to live. And that's all there is for this set of notes. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.